In this video, we'll discuss jump boxes. A jump box is a secured computer that administrators go through to administer other devices. So it's a central and definable entry point for administration. Now, we must make sure that we harden the jump box itself, which is a computer through which admins go to administer other devices, but also hardening of the originating administrative computer is also very important, where we might use a clean virtual machine whose purpose is only administration. Nothing additional gets installed on it. Now, in terms of network precautions, we should always make sure we're using some type of encryption of all network transmissions, whether we're using an IPsec VPN, or we might also consider the use, instead of or in addition to, an isolated VLAN, so that administrative traffic is kept separate from regular end user IP traffic. We should also consider the targeted systems that will be administered by administrators. They must be configured, for example, their host-based firewalls should only allow connections from the jump box. We should also make sure that the jump box computer itself cannot access the internet, because the last thing we want to happen is for an administrator using the jump box maybe to download a driver from the internet, for example, and infect that jump box, which in turn has connections to other servers. On the originating administrative station or host, there are precautions that we can take to protect our network. First is to create a process whitelist. In other words, only the allowable processes that are allowed to run on the originating administrative workstation. We can then determine which accounts are used to log on to that system. So only administrative accounts, for example, should be allowed to log into that originating system. The originating system should also use multi-factor authentication. Ideally, we might even use centralized radius authentication with auditing. Now, host logs from this originating system should be forwarded to another host, because if it's compromised, the logs could be wiped. A jump box, arguably, is a compelling target for malicious users, and the reason for this is quite simple. Because if the jump box gets compromised, that could then give access potentially to multiple internal servers that are administered through the jump box. On the scalability discussion, you could look at this from two perspectives. So you could say that a jump box scales well because you've got a definable entry point for managing a multitude of servers, whether they're on premises, in the cloud, or both. But on the other hand, you could say that it doesn't scale well. And that really depends on specifics. But for example, if we're talking about hundreds of administrators connecting through a single jump box to administer hundreds of internal servers elsewhere, yes, it could be a scalability issue. So you might need more than one jump box. You might even configure it as a load balance type of configuration. In this video, we talked about jump boxes.